I'm Judith Salomon, and you're in my studio on Perkins Avenue in Midtown, Cleveland, Ohio. And I came to Cleveland in 1977 to teach at the Cleveland Institute of Art in the ceramics department. And I've been retired now for about, 5 or 6 years. So I work pretty much full time in my studio, and I was really very excited to get this opportunity to do this show. It's good to get assignments. It kind of gets you out of your comfort zone. So I've chosen to do a wall piece for this show, and I've done a couple of wall pieces. Mostly they've been rectangular or square, and they're pieces that hang on the wall. And this time I decided that I wanted to make circles because somewhere in my mind it sort of reminded me of either musical notes or the idea of the bouncing ball and the musical sing-alongs. And not that the Sonata 6 would be something you'd sing along to. And I worked out my patterning on the surface. These things will all be on the wall, but they're glazed all on the sides also, so you can view them at different angles. And most of the patterning is based on my interpretation of musical notes and sheets of music and the scores. I don't read music, so I look at that as a pure abstraction, and that's how I interpreted this. And the color palette, is one that I use in my ceramics for the last few years, and there's sort of a quietness about it, except in the notes themselves there's a little bit of bounce, and I like that juxtaposition of the soft, the matte against the shiny, or the soft line against another blob of a note. All the pieces are slip cast. They are my dishes that have been reconfigured. I make very simple up and down sort of bowls, dishes, and I've put a back on them. So it has made them three-dimensional this way. And I've slip cast them, and then after they've been bisqued, I draw on them. They get fired, and then I bisque fire them, and then I glaze fire them. So they go through about 2 firings, sometimes 3. And the arrangement will be done when I get to the wall that I'm given, and I'll react to that space to see how they need to bounce off of each other. It'll be similar to this idea, sort of it will not be like in a grid or something. They will float independently from each other. I've been interested in, I'm always looking at new ways of drawing, and for the last few years I've been looking at shorthand, speed writing, a language that isn't used anymore. It's like a foreign language. And I've taken just the shapes and tried to incorporate them into my pieces. And the linear quality of the pieces, like here's one on the inside of this, are kind of some of the words, like I can't read this, but somebody who knows shorthand would be able to read them. And so I took some of those ideas, that kind of feeling, but I didn't want to do shorthand with this particular project. I really wanted to use the notes and the grid system, the linear system of the score to create the drawings. But it came out of, I would say, my drawing with the shorthand. I go to Severance Hall. We have a small subscription, and so I go, and it's sort of funny that I don't play an instrument. I tried when I was younger and stuff, but when I go to the symphony, I sort of shut my eyes and I just kind of hear this space in the music, and I really don't, like some people can listen to music and tell you where the horns that came in were off by a millisecond, or the piano, they hit a wrong note and stuff. I'm lucky that I don't hear any of that. I just kind of enjoy the music for what it is. There are sometimes I don't like the pieces because I don't quite understand it, or it doesn't appeal to my sensibilities. But this particular piece, it was a joy to be able to sort of sit in my studio and listen to the music. And that's what I did first, was I listened to the music. And then I did drawings of ideas about how I should work on the ceramics. So the ceramics was, I had made the pieces themselves, but they were blank sketch pages basically. So I took paper and I drew out kind of my reactions and how I would like hear the bounce or hear how one chord went to the next chord. And I loved being surrounded. The studio was silent except for this music, and I loved listening to it and how I could respond in terms of drawing to it. It was something I've never done before.